Right. Well, good afternoon to all of you Winning Ways show fans. It's been tedious trying to get the camera up and going. Obviously, we had a problem with the mic last time, and we've sorted out that problem. So we're now all ready to go. And it's, as I say, a live show, interactive. So if there's anything that any of you would like to know, please do not hesitate to type in your questions. But whoever's on board with us, there are a couple of you. Very nice to have you on board. And let's just start off. It's basically a feedback show. I'm going to give you some information about what's been happening around the world as far as racing is concerned, and then what's happening in South Africa. And there's certainly a lot of things happening in South Africa. Firstly, if you haven't subscribed to the show, please subscribe. That allows you to get all our updates, and you can go on the show and listen to some good rock and roll music, which I upload as well, because there are a lot of us old rockers out there that enjoy a bit of music. So you can just lay back and listen to a bit of music, and it's all there. I'm recording some pretty good stuff, which I think really get us going. Let's go and have a look at what's going on around the world. And we kick off with Royal Ascot. That's next week, Royal Ascot. And they've got an at-home studio, okay, which means that people at home can get the feeling of being at Royal Ascot. They've got all types of online fun things, including getting your whole slew of British flags that you can place around your house, and you can get tea sent to you, 45 quid a box of tea, quite expensive, but I suppose if you're going to get into the Royal Ascot swing, you might as well enjoy a box of tea from them, with cakes, all the usual cakes, cucumber sandwiches, everything that normally goes with Royal Ascot. So they're making a tremendous effort to really give the people a virtual feeling of being at Royal Ascot, as there'll be no people there. And they've done a virtual owner's exposure as well, which means that anyone who owns a horse will be able to tune in, that's running on the day, will be able to tune into the virtual experience, which means they'll be able to see the back parade ring where the horses are saddled and interact with the people that are involved there, trainers, jockeys, etc. As an owner, I think it's absolutely phenomenal, and certainly something that I hope we're able to do for the Vodacom Durban July. Let's have a look at what's happening today, because tonight is very big racing at the Curragh. We've got the Irish 2000 Guineas, 11 runners, half of them O'Briens. But the favorite is not O'Brien's, it's a horse called Siskin, trained by Joe Lyons. And Joe Lyons had a South African jockey riding for him for a number of years. Keegan Latham rode for Joe Lyons. He's got the favorite, and it's owned by the Aga Khan, and it's unbeaten. But so that's worth having the bet on. But if you want to have an each-way bet, have a look at Jessica Harrington's runner, Free Solo. I think that will really, really run well. Got to have a big chance. Right, let's talk about America. John Sheriff's stepped out of what was called Honor AP in the Santa Anita Derby, and this is my idea. Hello, Nikki. Nice to have you with us again. And we really are enjoying all the racing. But just talking about John Sheriff's in America, he's got Honor AP, Zenyatta fame. He trained Zenyatta. Now, I reckon Honor AP has put up his hand as the most likely Kentucky Derby winner. Remember, the Kentucky Derby is to be run in August, and this horse is really pretty useful. The saddest news out of America, and it brings back some terrible memories for me specifically. Hello, Frank. Nice to have you all. Thanks, Samesh. Nice having you on the show as well. I was just talking about Christophe Clement, who's a very great friend of us in South Africa. His son Miguel was with Michael de Kock, and he did a bit of work there as an assistant trainer, learning his trade and whatever. But Christophe and Valerie are wonderful people. They the Indian Charlie. I don't know if any of you have ever read Indian Charlie or subscribed to Indian Charlie. It's the greatest satire newspaper on racing ever. This guy knows everything. He's got nicknames for everyone. He's a bit like Paul Lafferty, and you should subscribe to Indian Charlie. It is a newsletter about American racing. And getting back to Christophe Clement, he calls him the Puerto Rican Frenchman, Well, he's got all types of names for Bob Baffert. He calls Bobblehead Bob. Todd Fletcher, Teflon Todd, because of the way his hair is always absolutely magnificent. So he's got all these names. But shame, I really feel for the Clermonts, because they had 10 horses that they were vanning from Florida up to New York to go and race in New York, because they're racing at Belmont at this time. And the van had an accident about 2:30 in the morning. We don't know if it was a driver fault or whatever, but there were 2 drivers in the van, and all 10 horses lost their lives on this float. Now, it reminds me of, I was involved in a terrible accident at Langsberg. My horses were on their way back from the Cape, and the truck overturned at Langsberg, and I lost some very, very good horses there. And Terence Millard, you'll remember the famous incident where he lost the July horse, Right Prerogative, and a whole lot of others in a float accident, also in the same sort of area. So, Christophe Clermont, we really feel sorry for you, sad for you, and our real sincere thoughts with you at this very sad time. Let's have a look what else we got. Australia. Australians always have some great story. And the story about Australia this week comes out of a guy called Michael Head. Never owned a racehorse in his life. His grandmother had just died, and he was sitting there mourning the death of his grandmother. He was her godson, and he's got a nice little business and whatever. And there's an advert came up on the television screen. Now, this reminds me of today's times. Sometimes these things happen, and they happen for a reason. An advert came up for a Schnitzel filly, a share in a Schnitzel filly that Derby Syndicate and Sean Derby, he was putting together a syndicate for the Schnitzel filly. He bought her at Magic Millions for $90,000, and he was syndicating her. Well, Michael Head, who's never owned a racehorse in his life, was watching this, and suddenly the feeling came over him. I got to go and buy. Hello, Russell. How are you? Nice to have you. And Scotland, I hope it's not as cold as it is here today. It is freezing in KwaZulu-Natal. There's snow all over the Berg. It's a bloody nightmare. So anyway, nice to have you in Scotland. I hope you're going to be watching the virtual Royal Ascot next week. That should be great fun. But getting back to Michael Head, anyway, he decided to call this guy. So he calls up Scott Derby from the Derby Syndicate. And funny enough, I had a syndicate called the Derby Syndicate in a second in the Derby beyond Prontissimo, I think, and then one St. Ledger. He was in the Derby Syndicate. Anyway, getting back to Australia, I digress, as they say. He calls in and buys a share in this filly, 50% knockout. Decides now he wants to buy 50%. So he does a deal with Scott Derby. Hello, Matty Beast. Nice to have you with us as well. Excuse me. He buys 50%. This filly is now running in a Group 2 in Australia tomorrow. She's won $900,000 in prize money. She's worth quite a lot of money being by Schnitzel. And it just shows you how you never know. You just got to go with your gut instinct sometimes and buy a horse. And we move on to South Africa because this is very interesting. Summerview Farm is owned by my great friends Gary and Colleen de Klerk. It's up in Summerveld. And they bought the most expensive horse on the Bloodstock South Africa online auction that they had closed yesterday at midday. And they paid 114,000 Rand, I think, for this filly. Her name was Petulia. She was bred by the Fosters and raced by them. She's by Captain Al, stakes winner. And the sale, well, I don't know that it went that well. Over 50% of the horses were not sold with a starting price of 5,000. Now, over 50% is a big return number. They grossed 731,000, but things are not good in South Africa at the moment. So anyway, good luck to Bloodstock South Africa. They're doing an online sale the first Friday of every month. They close, and it will be up there going on. Hanging to play golf, Matty Beast. You're right. Apparently, the golf course is open tomorrow. I'm not sure. I don't know about this. Did anyone out there know whether we're going to be able to play golf? I'm not going tomorrow. I've got a family weekend, but I've got big racing at Scottsville, which we do the preview for. Big racing at Turfentine on Sunday. Scottsville racing, that's going to be fun tomorrow. There's some Will be very interesting to see Dean Cannabas runner, the unbeaten filly that he's got for Kaya Stables. And then the Godolphin Bob, I think it's called, as the Colts race. Now, I like a horse called Prince Karesha. I think he's a really good horse, and I'm going with him. But that's the start of that. Right, let's have a look at what else is going on. Turf Talk, our favorite magazine, Turf Talk and Sporting Post. We get a lot of information off them. They had a guy wrote in a wonderful story. Yeah, we're looking forward to Scotty tomorrow too. They had this guy, George Stark, right? And if you don't subscribe to Turf Talk, you've got to go online and subscribe. It's a free magazine, as is Sporting Post, and you get all the information. And this guy, George Stark, I'm probably regurgitating what you all know, but he's like me, a pensioner, and he's fed up with these online turf guides, especially now computer forms come online. Well, I made the mistake when computer form came online because I'm a subscriber and we don't get it. So what happened is it came online. I thought, well, I'll download last week's meeting at Greybull. Press the download button. Well, my printer ran out of paper, nearly ran out of ink, 53 pages for one race meeting. So this guy, George Stark, has gone, is hilarious. He says that he's not computer challenged and he knows about the young generation, the millenniums or whatever they're called, and he's got a son who's 27 and he actually knows how to turn on and turn off his computer and download stuff and this and that and other. But he said he can't afford to download all these things. And he said to do your studying, and I understand this because I study quite hard. I use form grids and I use the collateral form guide on the B screen quite a lot because that tells you exactly where the collateral form fits in with each horse, if there is collateral form. So he goes on about this and he says he can't cross-reference. He doesn't know how to do it. His son's put up 2 screens for him. He's tried to work it out and his form studying has gone to pot. So what I say to him is, let me do the form studying for you because I do it anyway and I put it up for free on Winning Ways Show. Come and listen to what I got to say. You can take what I like or what I don't like. I can tell you, during the week, I made one horse an absolute good thing, and it did win, Donald McDonald. It was my best bet of the day, and certainly a banker in everything, and as happened at Doddleton. Tomorrow we got some interesting stuff. So I haven't done the form studying as yet. What I do is I do a cursory glance at the card, go through the race and see if there's anything that I've earmarked in my black book that's running. Then I start seeing if they fit the profile. If they fit the profile like Donald McDonald did. I watched his Barrier start. I was quite impressed. I then watched his first start. It was patently too short for him by Ideal World. Suddenly he goes in a 1,500 or 1,600 on Wednesday. Well drawn. Bang it. Marcus was in the race. Beautiful. Marcus made a price for us. He really did. He gave us a chance. Maybe Matty Beast caught a few jackies and pick sixes because thank you so much. I'm very glad. Box of cigars on the way from you, Matty Beast. That's all. I only ever want a box of cigars. You know, it's my passion in life. I can't smoke in the day, but otherwise I'd smoke on the show. But anyway, that's the one thing. So if you catch something, cigars, and not those bloody cheap Honduras jobs, okay? Cuban, so you got to win a lot of money. Anyway, so I'm only jesting with you. Right, so getting back to George Stark, he's battling to study. I understand where he's coming from, and I think lots of you do understand where he's coming from. Right, what else? Amano, that means that cigar is made by hand. As the saying goes, rolled between the thighs of a virgin, okay? So it'll look like it had to fight on his hoof, hitting the final furlong that pulled away. Yeah, it was cozy, Nick. No, it was cozy. Ideal World had to get the trip, that you knew. Marcus made as hard as possible, tried to pinch it in the straight. He thought he'd leave it flat-footed. He rode a cracking good race, Marcus. But anyway, it did win, so thank goodness for that. Number Pudding won the triple. Congratulations. And it couldn't be more fitting for Mary Oppenheimer's daughters, Jessica, and her team to be involved in this filly and Triple Crown, the Triple Tiara, as it's called for the fillies. The most impressive win of the week, there are 2 very impressive wins of the week. Mr. Flood is a revelation. He's by who I've always thought is a cracking stallion. He's very, very well priced, Path 4, and you certainly can buy his progeny well. Lucky Larkers has done an amazing job with this horse for the Protestants. Well done to him. Samesh, Delta Queen is the best bet on the card of Scotchville. Well, that's the Canamare runner, Samesh. I hope that they win. There's a danger, though. Sean Terry is not bringing one down for fun. And I think they ran a very good race last week. Slalom Queen, I think is. I haven't got it in front of me, but that's what I think might be the danger. So anyway, let's get back to Mr. Flood. Broke a course record. Can't. Never really had a chance. Loves horses, does very, very well. And it's a tribute and a credit to Marsh Shirtliff as an owner to have stuck with him and give. There are a couple of really nice horses out there, okay? Any idea when Madam Speaker runs again? Didn't I bet her that often, just love her consistency. No, I've got no idea. Madam Speaker, that's a PE horse, isn't it? Yeah, I'm sure it's in PE. Yeah, I'm not a PE fan or supporter. I've got good friends there, but I really can't work out the form. Alan Creoff's too clever for one person. He should be quadruplets, not twins. He should be Jacques Stratum's son. Now, Jacques a great boy from PE, very, very nice chap. He came and he helped us at a function I did last year when he had a runner in the Gold Cup. He was very, very helpful. His son had his second ride and won on it. A horse called Transonic for Dennis Bosch. His grandpa is Hecky. Frank, well done. There you are. So if you want to back that Madam Speaker is running today, it's 3:40. You better get busy. Who was that? Samesh? No, who wants to back Madam Speaker? What should happen with owners for the July? Well, I believe that owners who have runners in the July should be allowed to track. Up to 50 people, you're allowed a gathering of up to 50 people. Surely you've got enough time to be able to get them on the track. It makes the parade ring vibrant and lively and fun. Just talking about that, racing in KwaZulu-Natal and all over South Africa have two very, very big problems. One, there's too long between races. Another 30 minutes, you can cut to 25 minutes. There's no parade ring. There's nothing. Or you could actually cut it to 20 around the bend. And there should be 20 down the straight. We're chatting about the very good insight into the NHA, and we'll be chatting to each other. I can't let you know because there will be an uproar. This guy is, he's COVID-19 positive. He could give everyone the virus when he's finished talking about the NHA. But just talking about the NHA, Len Bloch and Doug Band were both sent notices for renewal of their colors. I find this quite funny. The colours application and the renewal is 1,300 Rand, which is ridiculous, gone up exponentially the last 3 or 4 years. And the NHA really will discuss it next week, all their costs, all their charges, because that's when the colours applications close for the new August to August racing time. And so August the 16th, I think, or 15th or 16th, they close. 1,580 to renew your colours. Are you having a laugh? You know what it takes to renew your colors? It takes an entry that you've done it. One entry, one data capture, 1,580 Rand. I want to pay for V. Moodley's trip overseas or one of the board members to go here, there, or anywhere. I want to be able to pay for what are they doing for you? They're doing that. So next week they're going to get it in the neck. 50 ways to lose your lover and your punter, was someone wrote on the website. That was very funny. What else is there? Oh, there's a big problem here. Post Merchants, which is run tomorrow, Scottsville. They left out a horse that was rated 119. It was the highest rated horse in the race, a horse called Speed Point. Now, how can you leave a horse out that's rated 190? The excuse Lennon Maharaj gave, 400 days off the track. Well, that's why horses have racehorse trainers, Mr. Maharaj, to get them fit. And if it's not at its best, it deserves to be there by virtue of the fact that it's earned that rating and you gave it the rating. There was also a problem with another one of them. What was the other horse? Yeah, there was something else that was in the race that had a much higher merit rating than one of the horses that got in. But if you worked out the weights that they were getting in the race, the other horse half a kilo better, or Solid Gold was half a kilo better off in the weights for the merchants. Sorry, buddy. When you come to a Group 2, the horses that have the highest get in the race. That's how it should be. No one should be changing that. Not the operator, and certainly not the handicapper, because you gave that horse a rating, so you say it is that much superior to another horse. It doesn't matter that that horse comes into the race better. You've earned your right to be in there. The highest merited horses have got to be in the race. Certainly group races. I can understand if you're fiddling around with low-rated handicaps and you're trying to get horses in to give them a chance. Wrong. My opinion, you really missed a beat there. The handicapper, the NHA, and everyone to do with it. I read what happened on the website and was very unhappy about it. Right, I'm going to finish off. Caught the bipods and lost money. Uses a submachine gun to shoot himself in the foot. Well, now let me tell you where the submachine gun's coming in, Nikki. Nick Johnson, who's a very big owner, he owns in excess of 60 horses, has taken exception, and I believe rightly to the Gold Circle board and their operators, their financially involved employees, pulling together a virtual Zoom meeting to allow the board, listen to this, use of the 200 million rand, which was ring-fenced from Clearwood, okay, for propping up the business, which is now 70 million in the red, and it's 70 million in the red because it never got the money that it was owed by Phumelela, and Phumelela owed them 70 million. So work it out. Who's wrong here? Who's right here? Well, it's simple. The management must make sure they get their money in. Crikey, they make sure they get their money in with trainers. I know. I've been late with rent, okay, as a trainer, and my goodness gracious, do they come down on you? They come down on you enough to stop you running your business. They stop you nominating horses. So they're now owed 70 million by Phumelela. How did they get to that stage? They won't allow a trainer to owe them 10,000 or 20,000 because he's having a shocking run, and they stop him running his business, but they allow Phumelela to owe them 70 million. There might be other things that come into play here, but that doesn't give them the right to call a Zoom meeting, special general meeting, where they want to vote in favor of taking the 200 million that was ring-fenced from the Clearwood sale for use in developing the racing industry to suddenly pay off your debts. Okay, so Nick Johnson has written a letter, and he's attached a lawyer's letter where he has made himself quite clear that he is going to actually take him to task. And I take my hat off to him. I know that he's not very happy about the sponsorship that was afforded the racetracks in KwaZulu-Natal, and he has a point, but then Gold Circle have a point. They need sponsors, they need money, they've got money in the bank. I'm not sure there's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other, but both sides have an argument. But this argument is absolutely correct. I would ask, and I'm going to close off with this, what I would ask Gold Circle to do is to show me, as a very astute financial mind, take that with a pinch of salt, okay? Because I spend whatever I've got. I don't care. I enjoy myself. Take the 200 million that was given to them in 2012, and I would like to see the trial balance every year, the profit and loss every year, the income and expenditure every year on fees, on all types of things that go into these type of investments that people make. And what do we have today from the 200 million? I'm not sure. A little birdie told me there's 212 million. Now, in 8 years, if you've gone from 200 to 212, you're not doing so good. And therefore, I'm not sure I want to give you my money or the company's money to be able to work with. And remember, the directors are at the heart of this. And the directors that sit at Girl Circle that were there in those days that made decisions, and some of them are still there. And some of them came on in the interim period, but didn't do a good job. No one can argue with that. They can't argue with it. We can argue there definitely wasn't a good job. Okay, Samesh, Madam Speaker is getting back to us if the result is known. So with that, Madam Speaker, I will be finding some good things. Mao's running in the next Hooves of Troy. Frank, all the very best. I hope it's going. I haven't hit a golf ball, and I haven't hit a golf ball for 3 months, and I'm looking forward to getting out there. But next week, go and watch Madam Speaker. Have a lot of fun, and I will be back with you tomorrow for your whole preview of Scottsville, and then Sunday at Turfentine. Have a great weekend. Great start to the weekend. I hope Madam Speaker wins for you guys. All the very best. Thanks, Russell. Thanks to all of you.